Attention all! Looking for a place to make friends? Feel a part of culture?
Welcome back, 2022 West Studio at Cal State in Long Beach, and this is Beyond the Game. It's your host Matty Ice, and having the ability Enrique.
Man, how long has it been?
It's been a week,
Man,
about a week or two.
Felt like a year.
Yeah, Alex is out. He's handling some business today. But you know, over the past couple weeks that we've been off, or the week that we've been off, a lot has been going on in terms of not just in our lives, but in sports in general, and a lot of things that happen. So we're gonna be here to talk about that today. First and foremost, since we got some since we like talking about wrestling on this show, a lot has been going on in WWE right now.
It has been, that's right.
A lot of feuds that have been, I guess, reunited, or at least that flame has been overblowing. A lot of back and forth in terms of promos and fights back and forth. But I guess the first thing we can start off with is Jey Uso, Jimmy, and Gunther. I feel like this feud has been, it's been like, subpar, I guess, so far in terms of fan reaction. But recently has been catching some flame since Jimmy Uso and Gunther, they got in a little fight and Gunther made him bleed.
Remember when I told you that Gunther needed, or that feud needed a big-time reaction from the crowd?
Mm-hmm.
And what Gunther did to Jimmy Uso, the way how pissed off Jay was on that moment, that's what they needed at that very moment. And so this feud, it's going to look really good. And this is something that they needed for quite some time, especially with how subpar, like you said, that the feud has been going ever since it started after Jay won the Royal Rumble. And this is a world title match, so it needs to be like one of those matches that will get fans hyped up for the most. And I feel like that segment turned things around like completely, especially with Gunther made Jimmy bleeding at that moment. So yeah, it's looking good so far with that feud.
Yeah, we have Monday Night Raw should be on right about now, really. And maybe Jay already did his promo, but I'm assuming and expecting Jey Uso is gonna come out angry and have a different type of mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of how he talks to Gunther and how he approaches Gunther. I'm hoping to see a more aggressive side of Jay. Hopefully, somebody that's on the offensive instead of the defensive. I hope to see him, talk his talk and walk his walk. Today when I guess watch the highlights. In other news, we have, I think it's been official between Rhea, Io, and Bianca in terms of the triple threat match over the week.
Actually, this Monday, the contract's signed. So
okay.
We will have a triple threat match for the women's world women's world title.
Okay. Yeah, before that, it was Io versus Rhea in a one-on-one match with Bianca Belair, special guest referee. And that was going to be for Rhea to get into the
match, but Bianca screwed her
right
at that moment.
Of course, WWE at its finest.
I was about to say, yeah, this was bound to happen. Like, the storyline was right there. Like, it wouldn't make sense not to add Rhea Ripley there because of how intense the rivalry between Bianca and Rhea has gone at this very moment. So they had to add Rhea there, despite what Bianca and Io Sky were thinking at the moment. And you know how people love Rhea. They needed to put that there. They needed a women's wrestler to sell tickets. So even though this is a money grabber, I would disagree. Like this was bound to happen. So
Right. I think meant to be. I think the Io versus Bianca matchup alone would have sold itself, but you just have Rhea coming back, and you have Rhea just losing her title, so of course she's gonna want a rematch for it. So it makes sense in the story purposes and storyline. But moving forward from that, we also had a promo battle for the WWE Championship on SmackDown, which turned out to be at least some part of it unscripted.
Oh, between Tiffany and Charlotte.
Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So Tiffany and Charlotte, I think this past Friday, had a promo battle for the WWE Championship. They're talking back and forth, and things get heated. And Cliff Notes version of what was said was, Tiffany came to Charlotte and was like, "You're 0-3 outside of the ring," referring to Charlotte Flair's 3 times being divorced. And then Charlotte Flair came back and said, "That's why Ludwig Kaiser's in my DMs." This and that and the other. So things from the initial thoughts reaction was like, "Oh wow, this is an amazing story. I can't believe they went that far." But after it happens and you hear the reports that maybe these things weren't scripted and things were just off the cuff in some parts because the two parties got heated at each other. It still made the story that much better and made the title reigns as Jay and Gunther's title or build up has been like subpar. A lot of people look at this as subpar too, and this put more fuel to the fire in terms of the interest level, I would say too. So what was your initial thoughts of that when you saw it, and then the aftermath of it?
Well, we'll see promos. We've seen promos like throughout the years where they go at each other, personally and with each other's personal lives. So I wouldn't say it was really that much of a shock to me to see Tiffany pull off the way that she did on Charlotte, especially with how Charlotte's been going through personally, especially going through a divorce just recently with Andrade and all that. But man, that promo, in itself, like, it really made the feud more intense, like you were saying, and the fact and the way Charlotte ended it in the end, you knew she was pissed. You knew.
Yeah, absolutely. She it felt like her last comment when she talked about Ludwig, it just felt like it got to her. It felt like that jab that Tiffany gave to her, it got to her. And I don't know, like story purposes, of course, like it adds to the story, and that's what wrestling is. When wrestling is at its best is when it blurs its lines. A lot of people say when it blurs the lines between reality and fiction, or non-fiction and fiction. So
we've like I said, we've seen promos that go through personally, like last year between Cody versus Roman and The Rock.
Yeah.
Like they would go like through each other with their family history and all this and that. So it's pretty much, well, I wouldn't say it's the same in terms of like the same topic, because that topic that I was just talking about, it was about family, but what Charlotte's been going through, it's a lot tougher to deal with, because like you said, she divorced like 3 times, and so it was something else for sure.
Yeah, so it made a lot of people intrigued, and a lot of people, I guess, look at this feud differently, or I guess. So I can't wait to see what else comes of it. I think these are 2 great performers, so I think the match itself will be great. But I can't wait to see what they'll do for the next upcoming weeks in terms of what they say on the mic also. I kind of hope the next time they see each other, they just start fighting.
Oh.
Cause like I mean, at that point, it's like
You know Charlotte's
they
gonna
both
go
got
back.
personal.
You know Charlotte's gonna go back at Tiffany.
Yeah. But I feel like the way that it ended, feel like, oh man, now let's just throw hands and
Yeah.
let's see where it goes from there. That being said, we got a main event for WrestleMania already.
That's right.
I mean, technically, we already know that Cody and John Cena are gonna be main eventing night 2.
Night 2.
But night 1, we finally got a main event. In terms of Roman, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. And, of course, the biggest story of that is CM Punk finally being a WrestleMania main eventer.
You gotta feel good for Punk, man. Like he's been saying, it was his lifelong dream to be in the main event of WrestleMania, regardless if there's a title on the line or not. And for him to be on the spotlight now, you gotta feel good for him. And it makes me wonder, what would have happened if Punk stayed put in 2014 before he made it public that he was leaving? Because he looked like that he was gonna be in the next, well, not the next spot, like that was Bryan Danielson's year, but who knows that maybe Punk could have main evented Mania the years after, because Punk, he looked like a promising man, and in ways WWE did promise Punk that he was going to main event Mania, and apparently WWE did not give him that. And so for now for the WWE to right their wrongs, give Punk that spot, you gotta love it.
Yeah, it's definitely like when I saw the when Paul Heyman told him, he's like, "You're a WrestleMania main event," I teared up a little bit, hit a little bit to see CM Punk in that state, and finally his dream is going to be accomplished. There's no backstage beef, there's no injury, there's no plot to hold him back this time. He finally is going to be able to accomplish that dream in terms of being a WrestleMania main eventer. And it's also important that the story is there, and the story is there. Like, I don't think it's just like, oh, you have Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, all three top guys, and it's like, all right, we should just throw that in the main event. I think they already built the storyline big enough. I think there's the interest level of the people to make it look like, yes, this is the match we want to see close off the show on night 1. Like, I think the story is already there.
Yeah, 100%. And if you think about it, this is long-term storytelling at its best, because 11 years ago, Paul Heyman made it clear that his dream is to walk down a WrestleMania aisle with CM Punk in the main event.
Let's talk about it. The favor has been outed.
Roman Reigns was mad.
Yeah, Roman Reigns will not be walking out with the wise man Paul Heyman for WrestleMania 41, and he will be in the corner of CM Punk, the OG Paul Heyman guy.
Yes.
So how do you think this plot twist will change each or both of those two characters for the long term?
I'm not gonna lie, something sounds fishy with everything here. Are we witnessing? Well, are they hinting, in a way, that Paul Heyman? Now, this is just a guess. That Paul Heyman will turn on CM Punk at WrestleMania, so that he could stay as Roman Reigns' wise man. I think that's where they're going with this. Because when you think about it, because Roman said it best, that Paul Heyman, when Brock and Punk, they were not around, he had no one to be around. And when Roman was right there, the birth of the Tribal Chief character, Paul Heyman was right there and he was ready to go. And so, like Roman said, he brought Paul Heyman back to the storylines, and here we are. So So I'm not saying I'm not completely sure about this, but I feel like this is where they're going. Now, do I wish it'll happen? No, absolutely not. But like I said, I'm very happy for Paul Heyman. I'm really happy for Punk that they'll go together on the main event of WrestleMania. But when 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 we call it a night, I feel like Paul Heyman will turn on Punk.
See, if Paul Heyman turns on Punk, will that make
Paul
Roman Reigns a heel again?
I feel like it will, to be honest. And in some ways, that's what a lot of fans want from the Tribal Chief character, because a lot of people were saying that the Tribal Chief character is a lot better when he's a heel, and when he's babyface, it's good, but Roman Reigns is not as aggressive as as the heel Roman Reigns. So I feel like this is gonna be the direction that they're going with this.
So what if on the off chance that Paul Heyman stays with CM Punk throughout the match? Do you think it's possible CM Punk and Paul Heyman become heels from there?
Well, that depends on what they do, because Punk made it clear that Heyman will be on Punk's corner, but it'll depend on what Heyman does to Roman Reigns. So, like, if Paul Heyman takes a cheap shot, and if possible, Punk does a low blow on Roman, because we've seen it in the WWE for the last few years that when we see someone hit a low blow, that's an immediate heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said before, it'll all depend on what Punk and Heyman does together. So I don't think it'll happen, but we just gotta go for the ride, you know?
Right.
See how it goes.
Yeah, I think obviously Paul Heyman being so ingrained into this WrestleMania build, it feels like Paul Heyman is the third guy outside of Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah.
Like, it feels like it's Roman, Paul Heyman, and CM Punk, and then Seth Rollins is just there.
Yeah.
Right? Of course. Where do you think Seth Rollins fits into all this?
Well, his feuds with both Roman and Punk,
Right.
it fits right there. And let's talk about Seth Rollins for a second. Man, what I don't understand is how mad he was when this man is in the main event of WrestleMania, and he's mad over Punk being in the main event. Like, bruh, he is so obsessed with Punk's failures and the way Punk left 10 years ago, that he's forgetting the fact that you're in the main event.
He's so angry. His anger is clouding his judgment.
Oh man, it was funny but pretty confusing at the same time. Like, bruh, you accomplished something too. You're right there.
Right. What? Do we have a prediction on who's winning that match?
Now, a lot of people are speculating that CM Punk will win that match. I feel like it's gonna be CM Punk pinning Seth Rollins. That's not what I want.
What do you want?
CM Punk GTSing Roman Reigns. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk finally getting his WrestleMania moment, ending the night, and everyone is happy. Well, not everyone. A lot of people love Roman.
Do you think whoever wins this match will be the next opponent to whoever wins out of Cody and John Cena?
I would love to see that, to be honest, but I don't think that'll be the case. I feel like Cena is gonna do whatever it takes to go after Cody, because remember we were talking about these last couple weeks that I think it was you that was saying it, that John Cena is gonna lose and lose and lose.
Yeah.
And until he gets that world title shot, like around SummerSlam, something like that. So maybe that's the route that they're going with. You never know. But yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered right now in the WWE, and we don't know what's gonna happen. So like I said before, you're in it for the ride.
Absolutely, absolutely. That being said, transition from the WWE. You got the Lakers gear on, locked in and loaded. The Lakers pulled off a big win last night.
Yeah, that was something else. Let me tell you.
Did we expect it?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I know I did it.
If I didn't, I would have put $100 and I won like what, $2,000. But you gotta give credit to where it's due. JJ Redick, he had the squad readied up. He had the squad well disciplined, and because they were so well disciplined, SGA did not commit a single free throw. That's insane, and that's the first game that SGA hasn't shot a free throw since 2021. Man, and what a game from Luka, Reeves, LeBron, and Gabe Vincent.
Gabe.
Alex didn't want to show up to. Well, he has been giving Gabe Vincent credit, so I'll give him that. But yeah, Gabe's been looking really, really useful on this team these last few months. You got to give flowers where it's due. So yeah, shout out to Gabe. Hopefully he'll keep this up. But the question I need to ask is this: what is with the inconsistent minutes with Don Connect? I am really concerned about this whole thing. Like a good answer people will say is that Jordan Goodwin's playing good, is playing good on both sides of the floor. That's why he's getting a lot of minutes. But these last few games, Jordan Goodwin has not been doing much in terms of his offense. If anyone I know that could give you some points, is Don Connect. We've seen it this last game where he dropped 12 points in 8 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I think, JJ Redick said this earlier in the season where he's like, I'm not going to play guys if they're not playing defense. And I think with Donald Connect, there's been times where he was on the court in significant minutes and he's missed his assignment and left a wide open guy to shoot for a three and it hurt us a little bit. But I also think we're a week away from the playoffs. And I think Donald Connect, I don't think you're going to see Donald Connect a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it'll take a year or two to try and develop Donald Connect into the player that he is meant to be, because he has a lot of high expectations. Mm-hmm. He was a top 7 player going into this year's draft. So it'll take a while for him to reach his full potential.
Right. I also think that I think JJ Redick is putting the players that we see out there on a consistent basis are the players we're going to see in the playoffs. It's going to be LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, Goodwin, Gabe Vincent, DFS, Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes. It's going to be like a 9-man rotation, 9-man rotation. And
my only critique about this is, as I hope that, again, it depends on what the opponent has on their floor, but I just hope that they don't play small a lot, because that's what hurts this team a lot, because of we don't get a lot of big guys to rebound. Now, people could say that, they got Luka, they got LeBron, Vando maybe to get the rebounds if Jackson Hayes is getting a breather on the bench, but at the same time, they need a big man out there.
Yeah, but I also don't think they don't have a lot of options when it comes to being or having a big man. Even when they have Jackson Hayes out there, it could be a liability if the other team's big man could shoot a three. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true.
Because it's if the other team's 5 could shoot a three outside of Jackson, Jackson's going to get stretched out to the 3-point line, and then the paint is wide open.
Especially when you're playing someone like the Joker, that will be the main playmaker of the whole team. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel this year, we had to give up Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. So it's for the rest of this year, we're going to have to deal with the fact that our big men or our front court isn't as it should be. And then hopefully in the offseason they could get somebody who's able to play defense but also maybe shoot a couple threes and play some defense, of course, and grab rebounds at an efficient pace. Yeah, I feel like, I don't think the Lakers small ball is that, like, their small ball, when they play small ball, it's not as bad because they're still a bigger team. Like, they don't have anybody that's lacking of height outside of probably Gabe Vincent and Jordan Goodwin. Everybody else, I think, is pretty long. And
they're at least 6'5".
Yeah, and, I think, they're going to give up some height and some weight, but I think they'll be okay unless they play, like, Rockets. Got a couple big men.
The Nuggets, like I said.
Nuggets, of course.
OKC. Grizzlies.
Yeah.
7-6.
I think they did a pretty good job on Zach Edey for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. Zach Edey can sometimes scare me a little bit, especially with how it's a liability for the Lakers because of how short we could be at times.
No, that's fair. It's definitely a concern going into these playoffs. One other concern I would say I have for the Lakers this playoff season is the inconsistency from the shooting, I guess. Especially, hopefully, like, I'm not assuming that Luka is going to diminish in the playoffs. I think he's going to be a great playoff performer. But, like, recently, ever since he got with the Lakers, it's been, like, hit and miss in terms of him shooting the three ball. He's been hit and miss. He have a good game here, have a bad game there. So I hope it doesn't continue in the playoffs. I hope he's able to, catch fire and be able to perform at a high level for a whole playoff series. And then hopefully LeBron's 100% healthy. I hope he's dealt with the injury.
Well, Luka is known to be one of those handful of players that is a way better performer in the playoffs than in the regular season. So I'm hoping that will be the case this season. Now, like I said before, I'm not expecting the Lakers to win the championship this year, but I'm hoping at least we can make a long run over there so we can, like, attract free agents to want to play with Luka.
Right.
And so we'll see how everything goes with that.
Fair. Outside of that game, the Lakers also got a pretty good win outside of them playing in the game. The Warriors and the Nuggets both lost on Sunday also, which helped us in the standing because the Nuggets are right under us and gives us a two-game advantage above the Nuggets. The Warriors lost, which helps us in terms of, breathing room. Of course, we still have the tiebreaker with them, but the Lakers' the Lakers' schedule for the next 4 games is going to be pretty tough compared to the other 2 teams that I just mentioned. So the Rockets are showing why they're the 2 seed. They went into Golden State and held Steph Curry to 3 points.
You don't want to hear this, Alex. Or Saya. Is Saya in there?
Yeah,
she doesn't want to hear that.
They're not listening. They're probably watching the game, talking. But yeah, Rockets held the.
That was a shocker. Now, what did not shock me is the Rockets winning the game. What really shocked me is, like you said, Curry only went down to 3 points. I was also surprised to see the Nuggets lose to the Pacers. I actually thought the Nuggets were gonna take this one easily. And so yeah, like I said, this gives a lot of breathing room for the Lakers with 4 games left in the regular season. And the Lakers, they have the tiebreaker over the Nuggets, so that gives the Lakers an advantage to try and keep the 3 seed. And I think Alex mentioned this 2 weeks ago. You predicted when the season started that the Lakers would be a top 3 seed.
I did, yes.
Maybe your prediction might come true.
Yeah, I said that because I thought, I look at Jay Reddick, I thought he was going to bring new life to the team. And it feels like, especially throughout this whole year, he has. Like, even before the trade, I think, like, we were like a lower seed before the trade. But before the trade, we also were going on that 18-4. We started on our 18-4 run in terms of wins and losses. The coaching is prevalent when you look at this JJ Redick led team. Like, we see the adjustments being made from game to game. We're seeing the adjustments in game. We're seeing how this team plays together more so, and not so much just leaning on LeBron or leaning on Luka. But it feels more collaborative in terms of last year, where we had players. We had Anthony Davis and had with LeBron James last year come out with a Darvin-led head coach and be like, I remember vividly AD coming out saying after a game, we don't know what we're doing out there. We haven't heard that once.
Yeah.
This year with JJ Redick. So, like, this team has obviously been heeding to what this coaching staff has been doing, and they've been doing a great job. Like, when I said that a 3 seed back then, of course, it's like, oh, right, why would you think that? It's the first time head coach. You never had coach before. And then the roster wasn't the same, obviously. But, yeah, I'm so excited to see what they're doing going forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And Darvin Ham, look what you should have done.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that he did a bad job, because both seasons you had a winning record. It's just that it was just a lot of confusion, and I always say this: by the second year, Darvin Ham lost the locker room, and as a head coach, if you lose the locker room, you lose the team, and the team is just not playing for you. And at least this year, it looks like they're playing for JJ Redick.
Yeah, JJ Redick is a team player, and he's a leader too. Like, we've seen the way he communicates with the team, telling them what plays to make, and what he says in the interviews as well. So yeah, this man looks like a real serious thing to deal with. A lot of people from the 80s will say this is like a Pat Riley kind of guy. So we're hoping that's the case, because Pat Riley did lead the Lakers to some championships. Yeah. So hoping for the best for JJ Redick. But for so far, he's done one hell of a job as the head coach. One of the toughest jobs, if not the toughest job in the NBA.
Yeah, head coaching the Los Angeles Lakers, yeah. Because you got to deal with a whole lot of things. That being said, what the Lakers coming up tomorrow are going to have to play OKC again. And the next game, they're going to have to play the Dallas Mavericks with AD back.
Oh, that will be something.
What do we think we're going to see of the next two games? When we're talking back-to-back games also.
I'm going to be honest. I don't expect LeBron to play, if I'm being honest. I think he's going to wait for the Mavericks game, because I feel like OKC is gonna be more ready than they were last night, and so the Thunder, they're gonna come in ready, and they're gonna be cooking a lot better than they did last night. So I'm not expecting much from the Lakers tomorrow. I would expect LeBron to rest up, get ready for Wednesday, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm not expecting the Lakers to win tomorrow.
Yeah, I would expect OKC to make their adjustments. Assuming they'll play better on the offensive end and aggressively on the defensive end. And I'm hoping they'll be ready for the Mavericks game. I know, like, the first time Dallas and LA played, it was in LA, but this time it's going to be playing in Dallas. It's going to be a lot more emotions because Luka's going back to Dallas, and we're going to see It's gonna be a show before the game, after the game, during the game. But also, AD's gonna be playing against the LA Lakers for the first time since the trade. And he came out and he was like, "Oh, there's no emotions," when he talked to the press, but there's gonna be emotions there.
Standing ovation or boos?
Oh, for Luka?
Yeah.
Standing ovation.
100%.
They're not gonna boo him because, one, he didn't want to leave, and they've been asking the franchise to fire Nico Harrison ever since the trade. So Luka will be getting cheered when he walks on that court for warm-ups, when every time he touches the ball.
They're going to get a standing ovation.
Right. I'm assuming the Dallas Mavericks will give him a tribute video.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They'd be dumb not to give him one.
I mean, they were dumb for trading him in the first
Oh,
place.
yeah,
so.
that's true. Yeah, man.
so we'll see what they'll do on Wednesday, but I just hope they'll get a victory. Just the emotions of the game, but I'm also scared and nervous about Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is gonna have a pretty easy matchup in terms of who he's gonna have to go against. You talk about Jackson Hayes,
Yeah.
and if they go small, they're gonna have to put Rui Hachimura on him.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, I feel like AD should be able to cook.
Yeah, for sure. Man. That trade made Nico Harrison look so bad that Dallas sports fans completely forgot about Jerry Jones. I mean, I don't blame him. Nico Harrison surpassed Jerry Jones as the worst GM in Dallas, so I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, that was a rough trade that should have never happened in hindsight. I mean, not even in hindsight. In the moment, like, you should never think about trading a 25-year-old superstar that's a top 3 when healthy type of player. Like, so.
Where were you when this happened, by the way?
I was. So the trade happened the night of the Royal Rumble.
That's right.
So, I watched the Royal Rumble with Jerry at his house, and I was driving home. I parked I literally parked the car outside my house. I was about to go in, and then I saw Ivan was texting crazy in the chat. He's like, "What?" And I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And so I was like, "Oh, Shams
got hacked.
Yeah, Shams is on a tweet rate going crazy." And then I saw the Bleacher Report notification. Luka got traded to the Lakers. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I actually thought that was a parody account at first.
Fair, because like that's how everybody thought. It was like, no way, Shams got hacked. No way. Because like, why would anyone think a 25-year-old Luka Doncic, who just took that franchise to the NBA Finals the previous year, gets traded? Yeah. And he didn't ask out.
Yeah, that's the crazy part as well. And their excuse for trading him is because of his weight.
Because he's 270.
His conditioning.
He drinks too much beer.
So?
That's what they said. But he's dropping 34. He was dropping 34 a night last year.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. It's gonna be definitely a Luka and AD type of night, I think. It's gonna be like AD's gonna want to go back and prove something to them again, and then AD's gonna want to prove something to LA. So it's gonna be an interesting night. I just hope LA pulls it out.
Nico Harrison about to pull up a lot of security guards.
I mean, it's been rough. It's been rough for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, when we talk about the standings of the Western Conference, we have about 4 or 5 teams that have the same record.
Yeah, it's insane how close 3 to 8 is. It's crazy. And the last time I checked, there's a 4-way tie for the 5th seed. And so, yeah, anything could happen. One mistake could change the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, those teams down there, you better not mess it up, or else you might go through us on the first round.
Yeah. When it comes like this happens every year when we talk about the Western Conference, and that's why I always stay firm, and a lot of people stay firm on the Western Conference being so much more better than the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more competition out in the West, not just in terms of star power, because there are a lot of stars in the West, but in terms of competition is a lot better in the West. You talk like every year we're having this conversation every year about the Western Conference. Last year we were having the same conversation. 3 or 4 teams are battling for the higher position in the seedings, and it's only the only differential is 1 game, right? So
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I was surprised that the Nuggets lost the Pacers.
Yeah.
Because of how uncompetitive it became. Well, I wouldn't say it was like too uncompetitive. It's not as competitive as the West.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Well, I will also say the Nuggets all year have been struggling, and I mean the Nuggets aren't the same team even from last year or from 2 years ago for the championship season team. So I feel like when it comes to the Nuggets, Jokic has been on more so of a carry. Like he's been carrying that team to a lot, he's putting a lot on his shoulders. He's having these great stat lines, but he's not able to get the wins because the team around him, players aren't really helping him in terms.
2 words: Russell Westbrook.
He's not the only problem.
It's especially that game against the Timberwolves a week ago. Did you see that game? Oh man, a clueless guy. Well, we deal with that same clueless guy for a year and a half. But man, that guy was, oh man, Nuggets fans, they were in shambles seeing that. They now understand what us Laker fans had to go through with this guy when he missed the layup and then fouled the shooter in a 15-second span. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was a poorly constructed 15 seconds for Russell Westbrook. In defense of Russell Westbrook, I feel like it sucks because this is the same guy who averaged a triple-double 3 straight years. And for that being said and him winning an MVP, he's only going to be remembered his last 5-6 years in the NBA.
Yeah.
And if it keeps going the way it's been going, his legacy, I feel like it's going to be skewed because a lot of people aren't going to remember that MVP season compared to what they're seeing now from Russell Westbrook. So,
well, remember how people forget about prime Dwight Howard?
Yeah.
It's going to be like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. People, shout that being said, shout out to Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, and the others who got elected to the Hall of Fame this past weekend. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The way that people look at Dwight Howard right now is different from when they looked at Dwight Howard when he was with Orlando and he got moved to LA. We're talking about 3-time Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Or 2-time back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. He was prime. Dwight is a different monster, and the way that the media talks about him, especially Shaquille O'Neal talk about him.
Shaq's all jealousy. But,
Yeah,
but
it's just the way that he
else-
talks about him and everybody else talks about him is he wasn't a great player. He didn't bring value to teams, especially that Houston Rockets team. Dwight Howard was that guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
You gotta give credit to Dwight, and I'm happy for Dwight that that he won the championship with the Lakers. That he will not go down as one of those elite basketball players to never win a ring. He will not go down, with Allen Iverson, Carmelo Anthony, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, all those guys that never won a ring. Dwight Howard will have a ring to show him. So I feel happy for him.
I do feel happy for him. Even when he won that championship, when you had Shaquille O'Neal disrespecting him when he won that championship. He was on IG Live crying. Because, like, why wouldn't you be overjoyed that you won an NBA championship? Anyways, NBA playoffs should be fun. This last week of the NBA, especially in the Western Conference, will be fun in terms of, the team shakeup. Like, the standings that we see now could be totally different by the time the next Monday comes around. So, we'll see what comes of it. And we'll talk about that more on Beyond the Game probably we'll talk about it Thursday and then following Monday.
For sure.
After that, I will say any other big news?
None of that, no. Nothing else I got in mind, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot to look out for. Now, before we go off, who do you think we'll face in the first round? Because I want to face the Clippers in the first round because that's the only team that the Lakers did not face in the playoffs at all. So I would love to face the Clippers, but I feel like the Lakers are gonna play the Warriors first round.
Yeah, I think the Lakers should play the Warriors. If I had to pick on who I would like to face, probably Memphis first round.
Oh yeah,
I think
sure.
if the Memphis Grizzlies were to get to that 6 seed and we stayed at the 3 seed, I think we would. I think I wouldn't be nervous on us losing it. I think we'll handle them pretty well. But I think it'll be the Warriors. If everything even if everything stays, I think the Warriors will still be 6 seed. Like if the records, like if nobody else loses in those teams that have the same type of record, the Warriors will still be the 6 seed. So I think it's most likely looking like it's going to be the Warriors unless they lose another game. But if I had to pick, it'd probably be Memphis for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how everything goes with that.
Yeah. That being said, this is first episode back from spring break from Beyond the Game. Next we'll be going for 2. It'll be Matty Ice, Enrique, Zach, and Saya. And we see you guys next Monday on Beyond the Game.
We'll see y'all.
Peace.
This is 22 West Radio News. I'm Sammy Cortez. The city of Long Beach adopted a 3